Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year to you all. Now in my previous episode, I showcased you my latest purchase, this Ferrari 355 GTS in manual. Yes, it needs a bit of TLC. Thank you all for the various comments, some advice and so on. And some of you guessed right about the wings, but we'll talk about that in another episode. Today, we're going to be focusing on another two classic cars, these two. My BMW E30 M3 Convertibles. Now, guys, I'm just gonna put it out there. This episode's gonna have a little bit of a rant. Let's get into it. The rant that I mentioned to you earlier is about this car. Now, before I get a little bit spicy, let me give you a bit of backstory on this car. Now, some of you who are new to the channel are seeing these two cars for the first time. If you've been here from day one, I would have introduced this car and you would have seen it then. Now, this car I purchased off a good friend of mine, Merlin at Duke of London, a classic car trader, back in July 2023. The previous owner had this car for 18 years and used it as a daily, but for the last 2 years of its life, it sat and did not move at all. Currently, it's sitting on 180,000 kilometers, which is about 112,000 miles. So the car sat around for 2 years. Merlin reached out to me. I did a deal with the owner direct. The car had moss on every panel. There were weeds growing out of the car. The hood, which is black, was actually green due to the level of moss. There were spider webs. The car was a mess. However, if you looked past that, you could see that the car was an honest car, and the paperwork that came with this vehicle showed that it was a fantastic car with a great history. Now, the first thing we did when we got it back was get it roadworthy, which meant a mild service, so change all the fuels, the fluids, change the belt. And we put it through an MOT and absolutely flew through, no problems whatsoever. After that, we gave it to Maguire's, and that was in January 2024, and they spent 2.5 days detailing this car, got rid of all that horrible moss, the nastiness, the grit, the layers of dirt, dust, the cobwebs, got rid of all of that, and we got the car back in a fantastic condition. And that showed some of the maybe negative aspects of the paintwork and so on. There's a few dents, there's a few dings, but still then, an honest car. After that, my namesake Raj Singh popped over here, took out the interior, took it away. That includes the front seats, the rear seats, the door cards, the center console, and re-dyed it same color, black, and even dyed star emblems. I've got to say, the interior looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, the steering wheel still looks a mess, but that's something that we may address. We'll get into that shortly. So we've got a car that's running, we've got a car that's got MOT, we've got a car that did not have a hood that was working, but in-house we managed to get the hood operational and working. All the electrics work, the interior's been done, Maguire's have given the car a detail. And then before I put it up for sale in August, after having it sitting around for 2 or 3 months, we thought, let's give it a proper once-over. So we gave it to my friend Cos over at Bird's BMW, and they looked at the engine. It was running really rough. In some cases wasn't starting. Got it back, and a bill of £2,297 later, and this car was running beautifully. The only negatives at that point was the hood. The rear perspex screen was damaged, and on these cars you have to replace the whole hood, and maybe the car at some point needs some paint, but it was in a condition that was drivable. Put the car up for sale in August, and that's where it got very spicy. So at the point I put this car up in August 2024, there were two E30 M3 convertibles up for sale at the same time. Bear in mind, there are only 786 E30 M3 convertibles made for the European market. These cars never went to the USA. There were two for sale. One was at 99,000 euros and another was at 90,000 euros, albeit slightly less miles, but you know, we're talking about 80,000 pounds in today's money, and both of these cars were for sale abroad. I put the car up for 60,000 pounds, which left enough meat on the bone for somebody to enjoy the car, drive the car, fix the roof, and at some point, a year, 2, 3, 4 down the road, they could paint the car. But as she stands, she still looks pretty good. I had a lot of inquiries from across the world, from the US, from California, from New York, a few from Europe, South Africa, and quite a few from the UK, as you would expect. Some of those inquiries were just stupid nonsense inquiries. Again, cheapest car out there by, you know, a significant amount of money. I had calls offering me £30,000. In fact, I actually had a call via Auto Trader through one of the secure numbers at 1:30 in the morning one night, and a chap on the phone, bruv, you got a car up for sale, I'm half dead, sleep, I'll give you 30K for it. And I just hung up. And that's the kind of nonsense I had. People offering 40K on an email without even seeing the car. And there's no comparison to that. Now I get it. Some people think that they're still stuck in 2010. I understand that. At that point, these cars were probably 25, 30,000 pounds, but that ship has sailed. And if we look at all classic cars, my 964 C2 in red, 10, 15 years ago, they were 25,000 pound cars. You cannot now buy a 964 C2 manual in right-hand drive for less than 70,000 pounds in the UK. And I could go on, you know, we can talk about Escort Cosworths, we can talk about E46 CSLs. The market has moved and some people just don't want to believe that. Now, casting aside all those stupid offers that I had, which I knew had not much weight, it's the fact that I even had people come to see the car, me tell them on the phone that, look, I'm not going to go less than 60,000 pounds unless you're a serious buyer. We can obviously have a little chat, wasting my time and then offering me 45,000 pounds. What for? What are you achieving? I just don't get it. I've never done that. I've sold so many cars over the years and I've bought so many cars over the years, but I've never offered somebody 30, 40, or even 50% off the asking price. So the rant does not stop there. I actually sold the car very close to asking price. Chap turned up in a fairly new 992 cab, serious buyer, did a deal, end of August, bank holiday weekend, and he left me £1,000 deposit there and then via backs the same day. And he said within the next 1 or 2 weeks, he will settle the balance of the car, and by the end of September, he will collect the car. Fine, no problem, did a receipt, confirmed the money was in. Now, a few days later, he sends me over some more money. So in my eyes, everything is going well, similar to previous cars that I've sold. And after that is when his dynamic changed. He went quiet for a couple of weeks and I did chase him, I didn't get a response. And early October, he sends me a message and says, sorry Raj, I've been really busy, as we all are. I've been trying to get finance on the car. It's nearly approved. And as soon as I get that money, I'll forward you the funds. Now, bearing in mind, I've lost out on potential buyers. I've taken a deposit, but the agreement was that by middle of September, I would have the money in full. And by the end of September, he would take the car and it would be no longer in my unit. End of October, I've heard nothing. So we're talking now full 2 months after the sale date. First week in November, so we're talking now 10 weeks. He phones me, and this is while I'm in Vegas at the SEMA show, And he's like, look, sorry, Raj, I've had some personal issues. Okay, fine, you know, happens. I've had some financial difficulty, but within the next week or so, I will get the money over to you. I'm really sorry. Okay, there's a spring in my step. Finally going to get the money. Now, we are filming this the first week of Jan. 8-9 weeks after the last conversation, he has not messaged me. He's aired my messages to him. He's not phoned me, nothing. Gone absolutely cold. I have chased, but he's not responded. Now, I don't get it. This chap's giving me a fair amount of money. It's not £1,000 as was the initial deposit. It's a bit more than that. September, October, November, December. We're talking 4 and a bit months later. The car's still here, and I've lost out on potentially all those buyers that were interested back then. And the car needs to go back up for sale. So guys, it looks like I'm going to have to market the car again. I'm sure that not all buyers are like this, and it's only a handful of dreamers that cast negative light over the E30 world. Now, I've not experienced anything like this. If you guys have, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories, but it looks like I'm going to have to market the car again. So if you're interested in an E30 M3 Convertible, a proper sorted car, bar the roof, the mechanism is fully operational, but it does need a new roof. Originally the car was up for £60,000. I will let it go now for £55,000 as is. It's a 3-owner car. It's on a trade plate, so you could be the 4th owner. Iconic car, not many of these made, as I said earlier on. However, if I don't get this car sold in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're gonna sort the roof out. We're gonna add a new roof. We're gonna fix the steering wheel because it's seen better days. But then when the car does go up for sale in spring, the price will go up. So if you're interested, drop me a DM. So rant over. Let's try and end this episode with some positive energy. Check out my other project, E30 M3 Convertible, this time finished in Macao Blue, which I think is the best color for these classic cars. Now this car I've had since May 2021, and she does look very pretty, although there's a small layer of dust on the car. I don't think you guys will see that on camera. It's factory color, Macao Blue. It's a H plate car, so I think it's a 91 plate car. And just to give you a little bit of insight of what I've done, whole leather interior has been re-dyed by my namesake Raj Singh. Again, center console, front door cards, rear cards have all been done. The engine, I've spent £6,000-7,000 on the engine. The works for that was carried out by BMWs Performance. And this car starts on the button, drives exceptionally well. All it needs now is some TLC externally. So I'm not happy with the paintwork. But I think what we'll do, we'll cover this car and what the plans are in a separate episode, probably when I take it over to the paint shop and hand the keys over to them, which will be imminently. But yeah, this is a special car, and this is probably a keeper to a degree, hence why I've given this car a fair amount of love. So we're ending on a positive vibe, rant over, details of the E30 M3. There's some links to previous videos in the description below. If you're interested, drop me a DM at rajsanga911 and I can talk you through everything we've done and the pricing. The next episode, we will be probably heading back to talk about my 355 and my red 964, that's the Guards Red 964, which will also be having some paint this year and a color change. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel so you know when the next episode drops. And also make sure you're following the main business channel, which is CAS TV, where we talk about car audio, we cover car events, car and coffee events, and other types of modifications that you can do to your car. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.